feminine planet. If you look at the animals, look at the lion. Everybody called the lion the king of the jungle, but he ain't shit without his queens. That's why he keep the harem. His lazy ass don't want to go out and chase that motherfucking wildebeest down. We, by nature, are matriarchal as humans. We, by nature, are pack animals as humans. Mm-hmm. When we deviate from the pack behavior and the matriarchal behavior, we become selfish, we become individual, prone to jealousy, prone to excessive rage. Then we become confused to the point, because we're not living like we're supposed to, that we attack that which is nearest to us. It comes out as white on white violence, black on black violence, Asian on Asian violence. But then it can only go so far. We have to spread it, because we are in this wrong vibration. It's not fitting us. We fighting it. Though we fight it, we don't understand it. That's why Paul said we fight not against the flesh and the blood, but against the principalities and the powers. The principle. The principle is the underlying idea. The power generates from the underlying idea. The principle is the underlying idea. So if you got a car loan, what's the principle? It's the amount you first borrow, right? The power is in that. If you kill the principle before the interest takes place, they can gain nothing more than the principle. So you fighting against principalities. That's a group of principles, a set of them. All of these principles, they don't want you to know what they are, because once you understand what they are, you take their power. So that Old Testament God is not the same as the Christ, nor will he ever give the amount of love energy that needs mitochondria to realize itself within the human. Because the patriarch, the Y chromosome, restricts the production of a mitochondria. It can't do it. It can't do it. It's not possible. It goes against all the laws of nature and science. Let me see, somebody talked about sacrifice. Little jealousy, spiteful, hurting others are all not of God, correct? God lives and loves through us. That requires daily sacrifices. They cannot be hidden behind religion or daily church attendance. You are pretty much on point with that. The sacrifice, however, the sacrifice cannot be a blood sacrifice. At this time, blood sacrifices have their place when everything is in this order, right? And we are at a regular vibration. We don't even eat vegetables. We don't eat vegetables. We eat platinum group metals in their monatomic form in a small amount of water, and we probably eat once every 40 days. That's why they got Moses fasted for 40 days, and the 40 days of the temptation of the Christ. This is what they're talking about. The body being conditioned to facilitate a higher energy function. The monoatomic metals in the platinum group sector causes the central nervous system to allow spirit to be a superconducting agent in the body, which makes the 2/5 unrealized aspect of self and divinity become realized. And so this is what we've been fighting against. This is what all of those secrets are about, is we accepted this by punishment in order to be redeemed at this time without the negativity of what was done in Babylon and the restricting other people from a right to ascension. We accepted this punishment as a cleansing. All of the racism that you see was not even written by white people. White supremacy is a military doctrine written by black people in order to enforce the punishment. They used the exact group that we created that couldn't ascend because they had to steal enough, one drop. They needed one drop. That's all they needed, is one drop. And then their central nervous system would open up to allow them to facilitate a higher vibration, high enough to allow them to ascend and to rid the DNA of all of the defects that was placed in them on purpose in Babylon by mixing various different species of animals around the world with them, with no regard for their right to be uplifted. They couldn't ascend. That's wrong. Mama said no human is to be thrown away. you can't throw people away like trash. And that's what they did in Babylon. It was done in Babylon. They threw the people away like trash. The same way that I told you about early about Ea. Ea is also EU. When you look at the word Europe, it was the rope of Ea, or his order. It was Ea who gave the order to seal him in there, because he didn't want them to, no self-respecting person of color that knew who and what he was would even come close to him. They thought they were a new species of animal when they brought him before the royal court before the fall of Egypt. They brought him before the royal court before we started to clean him up. And when the queen seen him on a leash walking on all fours, and she was like, what manner of beast is this? Well, the geneticists were assembled to determine what this was, so they thought they had found a new species, knowing that there has not been a species on earth that the Egyptians had not been aware of. When the geneticists came back and told what had taken place genetically with this, they were humans. They were humans that was thrown away. She flipped, blew a gasket. So in order to clean it up, one of us decided that I'll take the punishment. I'll bear the whole weight if everybody could understand that you can't throw people away. Because mama said you can't throw people away. They're not trash. So if you create something, you have to understand what you are creating. Mm-hmm. And you have to understand that there's consequences. Even if you are God, even if you are God and you do some dirt, it's consequences. There is no injustice in a righteous universe, and no injustice will be allowed to stand. That's the law of mine. And so when black people wondering why we wasn't getting awards at the Oscars, they don't even know Oscar was a black man. They don't even know Oscar was a black man. The whole Oscar statue is a black man. This is to recognize that the cleanup is being a success, and that all of this suffering has to come to an end, and we there. It's over. We don't have to suffer, nor do they. When all of these things took place, the invaders left us holding the bag to clean it up as if they had nothing to do with it. They were punished. They were punished. Their punishment was manual labor under the harshest conditions until each one of them clocked a certain amount of toil, which was what the condemnation of Adam was. You shall work by the sweat of your brow. These were the fallen ones, and they moved the verses around to confuse us. Adam couldn't be punished because Adam was not human. Adam was a nanobot made out of dirt. And the only reason why Adam was able to procreate is because she said, you can't do this to people. You can't make yourself the type of person that has no regard for the goodness in creation. It's all here. And it's our price to pay to clean it up. So because y'all are so arrogant and y'all know everything, and I've already gave you my son, we're going to do this as a family. So all of those, what we call fallen gods or the fallen sons of God that's been in human form, have been paying their penance with the suffering. And so the suffering ends when we realize humans cannot be thrown away like trash. Babies are not food. Children are not food. Babies are not toys for sex. These pedophile priests have to go. These imposters holding these thrones have to go. They have to be evicted, because if they don't, everything you see in the known universe turns to ash, because the injustice has to stop. Wisdom must precede justice. You cannot clean up that much dirt in 6 months. It takes a long time. And it didn't happen in one day, and it wasn't cleaned up in a single day. So we had to have the Masonic orders, because when they put those people in power, they overthrew the exact black people that put them in these positions to clean up the dirt. And they didn't want to let the throne go. 2,000 years ago, the son who walked with his mother, and they write the story as if this is one person, but I'm going to tell y'all the story of the Bible later on in the New Testament. When he confronted the one who was responsible for giving the order, they was irate because he was the heir. He was the heir to the throne. So they used sorcery and magic and other sleeping gods, because only a god can do anything to the gods, especially a realized god. A sleeping god can kill a realized god without even knowing what he's doing. A sleeping god, because he has the god gene, is authorized to execute another god. Now, if you go back to the Wonder Woman show, you remember at the beginning, they was talking about her, they called her the God Killer. Because only a god can execute a god according to the rules. All of them know, from Donald Trump to Francis, the talking Pope Mule over there, and that woman they call the Queen, that they have to go. Trump, in and of itself, is not the enemy. And he's actually doing some cleanup work that he's been commissioned to do. But if we start trying to behave like that Old Testament vengeful, wrathful God that ordered these others to slay this one they call the Christ, the Son of Man. First of all, the Christ, they couldn't kill her if they wanted to. There wasn't enough humans on earth to kill her. There's not enough humans on earth to kill her. Their power and all their technology can do nothing to her. The Christ cannot be harmed by the tools of man. Now, you see all these countries is preparing for war. They preparing for war with God like they can possibly win. Are you an idiot? It's not going to happen. First of all, the devil has already been overthrown in the heavens. So the Son of Man must be crowned on earth. So the Christ got to come back. Okay? So now, all of these things go back to the original subject matter of the fear. The fear in the psychic phenomenon. Because the fear in the psychic phenomenon is what turns off our eyes and ears to the word and impressions that God sent us individually. We don't need everybody in order for one of us to contact God. But what we need everybody for is when there's a negative force of the magnitude that we are overcoming. We need everybody to understand that we need to stand together in opposition to that dark, menacing force that's permeated this planet. There's a cleanup effort going on metaphysically to get rid of the intelligent black goo. That cleanup is already underway. And if you watch through YouTube videos about the chemtrails, you'll see some of them where they have the elders are cleaning up the chemtrails. they actually have craft vacuuming the upper atmosphere of chemtrails. So we wasn't left helpless. They've watched every step of the way as we paid our price for the atrocities we committed. Even Adolf Hitler wasn't what you thought he was. They didn't even tell you that Nazis won World War II, that King George in England won a revolutionary war where America was supposed to be getting its independence. We've been lied to so much. And all of the truth is right there in plain sight. Is what make the lie so effective.
Because nobody wants to read.
No, it's not that they didn't. Now, you remember, we already in a state of confusion from the black group, okay. Right? Then we are being misdirected like a David Copperfield show. Look over there, slap. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Now, when we looked over there and got slapped, we confused. So then they slap a Bible in our face, Quran, whatever the religion is, and they say it worked this way, in opposite of how it actually do work. It take a lot of that ain't the right answer. That ain't the right answer. What's the right answer? If you keep rejecting the wrong answer every time you find it and you ask yourself what the right answer is, you are calibrating. You're calibrating your brain to only accept the correct information. But when you can counter what you know to be a false information or something that didn't pan out, you say, you got to say it to yourself where you understand, this is not the correct information. I want the correct information. Your brain has an order from you, and it will not quit until they find the correct information. They teach us to learn by what you call rote learning, memorization of facts. That's not how you teach children. That's how you teach children to be slaves.
Makes sense.
Because they don't know how to think. They only know what you tell them to think. So if you look at our curriculum, they've siphoned out practical problem solving and critical thinking and put it into its own subject separate from the overall curriculum. Africans never taught like that. Native Americans never taught like that. Asians still don't teach like that. You teach a child the fundamentals of learning. You teach them the basics of reading, which is phonics and letter recognition. Once they got the phonics and the letter recognition down, you give them a dictionary and teach them speed reading. That's it. Once you teach them speed reading and they learn a dictionary, they know all of the words of the language that they speak. If you get a good dictionary, you teach them speed reading, they'll learn, by the time they're 7, they will know every word in their language of value at that time because that dictionary will be consumed many times. So now you have to teach them to read. They know how to read. They know the phonics and they know the recognition of the letters. Now all they have to do is calibrate their subconscious mind to assimilate the two at a rapid pace. That's the speed reading. At that point, when you teach a child, a 4 or 5-year-old child in that manner, you just took the brakes off of it. You took the governor off. You get a kid with a mini bike and he don't go very fast. He said, yeah, my dad got to take the governor out when I get a little bigger so it'll go faster. To take the governor out of our children, stop sitting them in them classes with their hands and feet tied to the chair, so to speak. A child is supposed to first burn energy in the morning. When he wake up, he's supposed to go play. He's supposed to go play till he's ready to take a nap. When you wake up from the nap, you're ready to learn. They teach us exactly the opposite. Your child don't get a nap till he get home. He don't get a nap till he get home. He got ADD now. He ain't had a nap all day. He wired up. He got ADHD. He can't sit still. You've been telling him to sit still since 9 o'clock this morning. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. How long do he need to sit still? Boys especially are not designed to sit in one spot the first half of the day. Boys especially. Girls are the opposite. The girls can sit still early in the morning because they are more mentally inclined at an earlier age. But come noontime, they start getting antsy. It's time for the boys to come in and learn, and the girls will go out and play. They got it all backwards. They try to treat them all the same. And they try to tell them there's no difference in gender, even when the gender difference is blatant.